live on Fire Your MD Now Radio. Now, for the first hour, we had Truman Tuck on talking about health freedom. And it might have sounded a little bit bleak, but I don't see it that way. I really don't. I think that it just really brings home how much we need to fight for this. We're not fighting just for something petty. This is for our very survival. Now, Thomas Jefferson once said, "I have sworn eternal hostility towards every form of tyranny over the minds of men." They want you sick, poor, and stupid. That way you are easily managed. We need to do something. FOFI.ca, Friends of Freedom International. They have a plan. Get together with like-minded people. Here at Longevity, we say, mission before commission. Well, believe it or not, you have a mission. You have to let people know we need to create a groundswell. To not be discouraged, just step up your efforts. And I'll tell you what, when you lose your fear, it's a great feeling. Freedom is not free. There's some things we're going to have to do. With that, let's take your calls. Let's go over to Brianna in Oregon. You're on the air, Brianna. How you doing?
Good, thank you. How are you?
Excellent. I'm great. What's on your mind today?
I had a question. My sister-in-law's father was diagnosed with hepatitis C and end-stage liver disease, cirrhosis of the liver. And he just got back out of the hospital. They're not putting him on the liver transplant list. His last ammonia levels were 166, and they said that he has hepatic encephalopathy.
Yeah.
And they gave him 1 to 3 years. So we're trying to figure out if there's something we could put him on that could make that longer than that or help him, because I know the liver can regenerate itself, or is he past that point?
Well, nobody knows what's past the point. I mean, the MDs have obviously given up on him, whether that's through financial constraint or they don't have, they don't have room for it or whatever the case might, or they just don't care. But here's the deal. I was talking to Dr. Glidden, and he actually related a story to me, and this is before he even got involved with Longevity. He had about 3 friends, I think it was, that actually were diagnosed with hepatitis C, and one of them went the holistic route, and the other 2 are dead. He's lived with it. The man who followed the holistic route, if it was a man, I can't remember, that person is alive to this day and fine. So in our view, hepatitis is something that you can live a long and healthy life with. Now, as far as the cirrhosis of the liver goes, I don't know how far is too far, but I do know what a person can do to promote and support the healthy structure and function of the liver. Now, the good news is the body wants to heal it, and liver is very, very important. Now, that cirrhosis is no different than what, say, a statin drug would have done. But that's beside the point. Now, if I was you, I would get him on a high dose of selenium. Do you know how much he weighs?
170 pounds.
170 pounds. So at that weight, I would get this individual on 2 Healthy Start Pack Liquid 2.0. That's 2 Healthy Start Packs Liquid 2.0. And I would add into that mix 3 bottles of Ultimate Selenium. Selenium has shown to be absolutely great for the liver. It actually needs it in order to function, as well as a myriad of other organs in the body. Now, as you mentioned, the liver is absolutely amazing. And if there is an organ that can bounce back from some severe damage, it's the liver. So that's good news. Now, aside from that, I would also have this guy taking in a lot of fucoidan. Okay, there's a sea vegetable, fucoidan. There's over 900 published studies on its effectiveness, and I would be using as much of that as possible. Now, the best delivery vector for the fucoidan that I know is a product called Z-Radical. It's got a high ORAC value, and with the Z-Radical, I'm not going to tell you how much he should take in a specific quantity or number. I'm just going to say as much as he can possibly afford. Now, are you involved with Longevity, Brianna?
Yes.
Okay, good. So you know how to do this. and get back in touch with them. Now, aside from that, if you are an insider with Dr. Glidden or become one, he has a great hour-long webinar specifically on the liver. And there's a series of tests a person can look for outside of the conventional medicine industry that can give you some good results because, quite honestly, they just don't know what they're talking about a whole lot of the time.
Okay.
So, 2 Healthy Start Pack 2.0, 3 bottles of Ultimate Selenium, and that selenium is key. And on top of that, I would add as many bottles of Z-Radical as he can afford. Now, do you know about the 10 bad food list?
I do.
Okay, good. So make sure he's aware of that. And no more drinking.
Yes, absolutely.
That's the big one. So, Brianna,
one other question.
Yeah, go ahead.
They put him on low-protein diet because the liver's working so high, but I know on the good foods list, eggs and red meats are okay. Does he still need to avoid those with the low-protein diet?
I don't believe so, but that would be a question better suited for Dr. Glidden because right now I'm not sure, and I'm not going to tell you something that I'm unsure of. Sound good?
Sounds great.
All right, Brianna. Now, I got a question for you before we go over to Daniel in Texas. What have you seen happen with longevity in your own life or your family?
My husband injured his knee working, and he was supposed to have surgery done on it. And 3 months, at his 3-month post-checkup before the surgery, the doctor said that it had healed better or as good as he could have done in surgery, and we avoided having to have reconstructive knee surgery.
Wow, that is awesome. And you know how many people I talk to on a regular basis that are on their third knee, and it just never seems to work out. And the calcium deficiencies that are present in the first place, I mean, they're popping screws into bone that's brittle. So, I mean, it just gets worse and worse and worse. So you guys really dodged a bullet.
We did. He told us whatever we were doing to keep up with it. So
you got a good doctor then. What did you think of that interview with Truman Tuck?
It was very good.
Very interesting. We've got to be really active if we're going to keep our rights to use whatever we want to gain our own health. And so I'm hoping that you're going to get out there and work for the cause, Brianne, and in so doing, you'll only make things better for yourself. Thanks a lot for your call. I really appreciate it. We're going to let you go, and we're going to jump over to Daniel in Texas. How are you today?
Hi, how are you? Who is this I'm speaking with today?
Well, this is Mike Phillip. I'm the fill-in guy for Doc.
Nice to meet you. Are you there?
Prince. Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, great. So what's on your mind, Daniel?
So I have a question. I know about the 10 bad foods and oils in a bottle is no good, right?
That is what we believe, yeah.
And so I have this butter. It's called Earth Balance butter. I don't know if you ever heard of that. And it's just in a tub, like most butter is. But it says on the front, 78% natural vegetable oils, and they say it's made with, plant ingredients. But I think it's made with oils, so I don't know if that's, going to cause free radicals to happen.
Yeah, well, if that's the case, I would ditch it and go with the butter that comes from the animal produced butter, because what you want is the fat, right? Those oils, when you heat them up, they're gonna be a major cancer causer, and that is the reason that we stay away from them. But butter is absolutely awesome for you. Your body needs fat. Now, I know for years and years, doctors have told everybody low-fat diet. No cholesterol, but they've been completely ass backwards on that. And from what I've found, just around here, since we started using butter in all of our cooking, I've never eaten so good in my life, and I never want to even look at margarine or oil again.
So any kind of oil is no good, no matter what kind of how it's made or used or what container it's in?
You know what? There's a lot of people that firmly believe in hemp oil. There's a lot of people that believe in coconut oil. And it's funny because I've seen people get good results with it. I actually know a guy who gets hemp oil, and he's been using it for about a year, and before that he was prone to about 10 seizures a month, and he hasn't had any. Now, whether or not he's going to keep that trend up without using the 90 essentials, I don't know. But for myself, I just steer clear of it, and that way I know for sure that I'm avoiding the whole mess, and that's my attitude.
Right. Is there any normal butter you can recommend that's like non-GMO and, organic and all that?
Well, you're in Texas, and now I'm in Alberta, so, we've got Lucerne in our supermarkets here. I don't really worry too much when it comes to GMO products in my butter. I just buy it, right? I'm kind of on the fence about, I'm glad you brought it up, because GMOs, I'd like to see some testing done with genetically modified organisms on a healthy body that's properly nutrified. I guarantee you that every test they've run, there hasn't been the presence of all the essential vitamins, minerals, and amino and fatty acids, right? So I don't actually worry a whole lot about GMOs, and we're going to be playing a clip a little bit on the show about people and what they think about GMOs. So, if you want to avoid them, you want to find a good organic butter, go ahead. It's probably going to be more expensive, but I just go ahead and buy it right at the store. I don't worry too much about it, and that's just me, but...
All right, that sounds good.
All right, Daniel, anything else you want to talk about?
Sure. I kind of got another question. I don't know if you could help me with this one, about the whole Ebola thing. So I'm here in Texas, and I'm flying back to Washington where I live. And,
sure, Daniel. You know what? I hear the music. That means we got a break coming up. I'm going to put you on hold. Now, I'll tell you all what I think about Ebola on the other side. Mike Phillips filling in for Dr. Peter Glidden. We'll be right back. Once again, we are live Wednesday, October 15th. Call in line to the show is 844-374-5433. Before the break, we were talking to Daniel in Texas, and we're going to go over to Madru in California. I love talking to Madru. She's great. Daniel, we were talking about Ebola, and I'm going to tell you, I'm not afraid of Ebola one little bit, and I'm going to tell you why. What I am scared of with the Ebola situation is the government's response to it, whether it's real, perceived, or whatever the case might be. Now, here's the deal. If you go on YouTube and watch a documentary under Vice Travel called Cannibal Warlords of Liberia, okay? Now, if this whole Ebola thing originated in Liberia, let's look at the situation in Liberia, okay? The capital city of Monrovia has got running sewage in the streets, okay? Disease is rampant. Poverty is rampant. So disease, in the case of it, a virus like Ebola, it's looking for a place to live. And it's easy to get into a body that has no defenses. So what you want to do is you want to do everything possible that you can to make your body an unhospitable neighborhood for a disease to move into. You want it so that every cell in your body has a shotgun and is jealously guarding its property. You want your immune system firing on all cylinders without any interference. You hear what I'm saying?
Yep.
So, the time to worry about Ebola isn't when everybody's running around in masks. The time to worry about anything at all is now, and nutrify your body. Now, yesterday on the show, we were talking about Johnson & Johnson and Bayer were facing lawsuits in 3 states from their drug Xarelto blood thinner deaths. And what that caused people to do is bleed out until they die. So all we're hearing about in the news is Ebola, which people are scared of because you bleed out until you die, when in fact, that's happening every day all over the place due to our medical system. So, if a person's going to be concerned about something, you want to prioritize, right? You want to nutrify your body so that it doesn't have problems to begin with. And when you do that, you can still get sick once in a while, but the consequences aren't half as devastating or debilitating. How does that sound to you, Daniel?
Pretty good. I was just curious about going on the plane, if I should wear a mask or gloves or anything, but then I feel like they would probably make me take those off, Anyway.
You should wear a gorilla suit. How's that?
They'll love that, I'm sure.
Daniel, thanks for your call. And like I said, just take steps now to boost your immune system and don't worry about Ebola. It's that simple.
Yeah, I'm not worried about it now, so.
All right, take care, Daniel. We're going to let you go. We're going to jump over to Madru. How you doing, Madru?
I'm fine. How are you?
I'm great. It's good to talk to you. So I don't doubt at all that you've got somebody there listening who wants to talk about something. What's going on, Madru?
Well, actually, I just want to tell you the summit was wonderful. Oh, it's just on top of the world. Vegas, Danny Glover giving his testimony, and Dr. Stan, a naturopathic doctor from Barbados, saying he's going to help his country, and they're number one as far as the amputees and all that. And oh my gosh, it was just so wonderful. And so we're actually spreading this. Everybody got so hyped up and everything like that. But I'm calling right now about my husband.
Okay.
He's an athlete. He actually is on the Bone and Joint Pack. He does a variety of activities. He is number one, he plays too much tennis, 4 hours coming home drenched, and but he drinks his rebound, but still 4 hours is excessive. However, what he's done now, he actually has pulled, it's the calf behind the right leg. There's the ligaments behind there. It's behind on the calf up to right above his, right where, kind of like where the knee is, right behind the knee, the calf up. There's excruciating pain, and there's, sometimes he limps. And so this has been going on for about a week or two, but he decided that after he took some stuff, and I gave him the pain away and the trauma oil and everything, he was going to go out and test it. So now he knows he can't do that. So.
He's stubborn,
okay.
right? Okay,
so,
I get it. Drew, I hear the music. That means we're going into a break. I'm going to put you on hold, and we'll talk about the case of the stubborn husband's knee ligament after these messages. This is Mike Phillips filling in once again for Dr. Peter Glidden. The call-in line to the show is 1-844-374-5433. Now, if you want to get involved with this thing called longevity, and you want to be like me and have people emailing you and saying, I can't believe it, I can walk. I can't believe it, my blood pressure's down, my diabetes is going away, and get paid to do it, shoot me an email, mike@teamglidden.ca. Now, before the break, we were talking to Madru, and her husband is a stubborn guy, and he loves to play tennis. He went and hurt himself and decided to go test out the ligament and hurt it again. So, and this is the problem. Here's the deal. Your husband feels like he's Superman. He's so nutrified up and everything works all the time, but there is a little bit of healing time, right?
Right.
I mean, you feel so good all the time that you feel you can get away with more than you can when actually a little bit more time is necessary. So as you mentioned, he's been taking the Healthy Bone and Joint Pack. He's probably been complying with the 10 bad food list for how long now?
For about a year or two, and he's taking enough. He bought extra calcium and he's taking extra glucose. So the thing is that he, I know when you exercise, after you exercise, your body is, basically, and it's just really just rattled. It's talk about carcinogens, talking about on fire. You know what I mean? And so you've got to put the nutrients in there so that it actually to settle it down and bring it up to normal levels. But if you don't, you're going to keep, you'll never, ever relax. Those muscles will never, ever relax.
So did you come on the show to have me tell your husband, listen to your wife?
Well, actually, I'm at a meeting right now, but I actually was going to call in because I wanted him to talk to Dr. Glidden, but he's not there. But I just wanted him to, at least if he hears this, will this be on the web?
This will be on the web. You'll be able to download the podcast later on or listen to a rebroadcast. It actually loops 24 hours. But you know what? If you want some insight on how to speed up that healing on top of what you're already doing, I would add to what he's doing the Z Radical. Okay,
right.
we use the Z Radical.
I got some delivered. Yeah, I got some delivered today. It'll be coming to me. Yeah.
You're a smart girl, Madrusi. You don't need us. But you know what? If you want to get a little bit more insight from Dr. Glidden, he will be back tomorrow and Friday. So I'm taking Friday off. But so I really appreciate everything that you do, Madru. You heard that interview with, I'm assuming you did in the first hour, and there's some really insidious things going on.
Yeah, I love that. I love that.
Well, and you know what? Here in Canada, they were proposing legislation where if you have contraband vitamin supplements, they could kick in your door and raid you without a warrant.
I mean, can you imagine that? I mean, that's how close it is here in the United States.
It's unreal. But you know what? It just
that's why really, everybody is sick.
Yeah, it highlights the need, though, for us to really step up our efforts with what we're doing, not just for ourselves, but for our kids. Because, I mean, if this is taken away, it's a bleak future. Exactly.
And let's pray for all these churches that you know, every Sunday these people go up to call and they want health and wealth. So I'm praying for those people too, that they get in sight of Dr. Wallach.
You know what? I got annoyed with the churches a long time ago. I'm gonna be real with you, okay? For a long time I was a devout church-going guy, and I was dutifully paying my tithe, and I saw them taking that money and buying, you know, padded pews, sound systems, and all these things. And so, you know, I still believe that I need to help with the poor or anybody who can't handle it. So I decided that I was going to take a percentage of everything I make off of longevity. And if that means that I have to pay somebody's $10 fee and buy them a bottle of plant-derived minerals because they can't afford it, that's what I'm going to do. And what I've found is it's actually been a real blessing to whatever I'm doing, and I'm making a lot of great friends doing that. Does that sound good to you?
It sounds wonderful. Wonderful. Thank you so much.
It's a good way to go. But Drew, thanks a lot for your call. Dr. Glidden will be back in tomorrow.
Thank you.
All right, we're going to let you go. Now, I was talking about GMOs a little bit earlier because Daniel in Texas wanted to know about GMOs in the butter and a lot. Like, here's the deal. Okay, if you're gluten-free, that cuts out a large amount of GMOs that you're going to be eating. Now, GMO stands for genetically modified organism. A few years back, I took my kids when they were a lot younger, and we went to the Edmonton Space Science Center, and they had this huge section on the work that was being done with genetically modified organisms. And they were talking about that they were going to make food grow in arid, dry areas. They were going to feed the world. And I don't see that coming to fruition, but I'm also not really afraid of them because I tell you what, when you're nutrified, you're nutrified. When your body is strong, it's just going to get rid of the toxins. Now, it was funny because I found a clip from the Jimmy Kimmel show where they went out and asked people about GMOs, and there's a lot of people avoiding them that have no clue. Let's roll that clip.
According to a new study that was done by Consumer Reports, a majority of packaged goods that are labeled natural are actually contain genetically modified ingredients, which makes it unclear, as to whether they are natural or not, because they grow, but they've been modified in a laboratory or whatever. Apparently, the FDA will allow companies to put the word natural on a product label as long as it says JKLOL on the back of the product. But critics of genetically modified organisms, or GMOs, claim that they pose health risks. It's a complicated issue, though, because there isn't a lot of evidence to back that up. Still, some people are dead set against them. There's been legislation designed to limit GMOs. You see documentaries and angry Facebook posts about it. How many of you do not want GMOs in your body? Yes? Okay, a lot of people. All right. So, as I usually do when people take a stance on a complicated issue, I wondered how many people who are against GMOs really know what they are. So we sent a crew to one of our local farmers markets to ask people why they avoid GMOs, and more specifically, what the letters GMO stand for. Enjoy.
Do you try to avoid GMOs in your diet?
I do. Yeah.
Tell me why. There's just a vibration with GMOs. For me personally, just something that I don't particularly want to put into my body.
What does GMO stand for?
Genetically modified.
Yo.
I don't know.
Bishop Don Magic Wand, what is a GMO?
Well, I'm not really sure. You have to make me familiar with that. What is a GMO?
Do you try to avoid GMOs in your diet?
Yeah, absolutely.
Why is that?
Just the effects, I guess, on myself.
What does GMO stand for?
Man, put me on the under the grill. Let's see. I don't even remember.
Do you try to avoid GMOs in your diet?
Absolutely.
Why?
Because they're not good for you.
What is a GMO?
It's genetically I don't know. What is it?
If you are eating whole foods, you want to eat what you're eating. You know what I mean? You want to eat what you see. And so, and you're avoiding processed food, but when the whole food is somehow contaminated, that's kind of making it a moot point.
What does GMO stand for?
Genetically manufactured. Oh.
What is a GMO?
General modified ingredient, right?
What is a GMO?
It's something modified.
Do you try to avoid GMOs?
Sometimes. Not a whole lot, but, I try.
What is a GMO?
I don't know. I swear. I was just going along with it. I don't know what GMO is.
What is a GMO?
I don't know. I know it's like some corn bad stuff, right? I know it's bad, but to be completely honest with you, I have no idea.
What is a GMO?
I don't know. So I really don't care. It doesn't affect me. I'm not sick. I'm fine.
What is a GMO?
It's a genetically modified organism.
And what's GMO spelled backwards?
OMG. Nice.
Yeah, well, there you go. Now we have to figure out what an OMG stands for.
So that was a humorous look at it, but the reality is, a lot of people are up in arms about it these days. A lot of people that are the medical industry, and I don't trust the government. And as we talked about earlier, Benito Mussolini defined fascism as a merger between business and government. And if they're pushing this, and they don't want to let you know that it's in the food that you're eating, they're always blocking labeling laws and whatnot, that's highly suspect. And RT a little while back did a study, they covered a study that the Russian government did on GMOs with rats, and they found that they all grew tumors, but what else was those rats eating? Were they giving those rats, were they giving them selenium? Did they have any B vitamins? Did they have any vitamin C? Were they taking any other minerals or anything, or just genetically modified corn? So that's my deal. I don't know what's going to happen in your body if you consume GMOs and you're nutrified. Now, fear is a problem. The stress of life depletes your nutritional tank and results in disease. So anything that causes fear in any way needs to be kicked out the back door with extreme prejudice. We had Daniel talking about Ebola. Man, when I go and I look up articles for the show and I'm doing research, all you see on Reuters, Associated French Press, Fox News Health, Global Health, CBC, ABC, all of them, it's Ebola, 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 Ebola. And they've seriously burned it out for me. And like I said earlier, I'm not near as interested in what's going to happen with Ebola because I'm confident that my body can beat it. I am, however, worried about them slamming down on travel, cutting off the border, and imposing medical tyranny in the name of fighting this disease. I mean, they've already shown a totally callous disregard for your health in the first place. They don't listen to you. They don't care. Oh, but they care so much if you get Ebola. What about all the drug deaths? What about all the surgery deaths? What about all the hospital infections? That's not a problem, but Ebola is? Let's put our priorities straight, people. It's happening every day all around us. Now, the good news is you don't have to go to that boat. You don't have to do it. Get your body nutrified. Mike Phillip filling in for Dr. Peter Glidden. We will be back after this. Welcome back. We're live on Fire Your MD Now Radio. Now, I've been doing the show since last Thursday, and I would just like to say that I'm very thankful for Dr. Glidden having me do this show. I have a lot of broadcasting experience. I have a lot of experience in dealing with people and using longevity products to get their health back. And I would just like to say I'm very thankful for this position that I have been put in. I really actually care about whether or not my countrymen are hurting or suffering. And I started in my own house. I got my health back. We got my wife's health back. She was in pain all the time. You want to talk about something that really makes a husband angry? Just sit there and listen to a doctor accuse your wife of lying about her pain and that there's nothing wrong with her when you've listened to her cry herself to sleep every night for about 3 years and she can hardly walk. And she wasn't that old. I mean, early 30s, completely breaking down. No hope. She had no hope, and I kept telling her, there's something out there. There is something out there. Well, you know what? I found it, and I'm happy to report today that she has 0 joint pain. It is gone. You want to do the same thing in your life with yourself or your family? Contact me, Mike, at teamglidden.ca. Now listen to this. DrugWatch.com is reporting active lifestyles increase knee replacement surgeries in younger adults. It's not just old people anymore. The number of total knee replacement surgeries doubled in the United States during the last decade, a recent study shows. A 2013 report published in the Journal of Bone and Joint Surgery showed that more Americans are getting knee replacements at younger ages, which could put them at risk for future complications that could require subsequent replacement surgeries. It's estimated that about 4 million people aged 50 and older have undergone knee replacement surgery. Younger patients may have high or even unrealistic expectations for the surgery, according to researchers. Knee replacement surgery is intended to help recipients get around easier and without pain. Younger and more active recipients tend to continue activities that put stress on their prosthetic, which could increase in the possibility of complications. These complications can range from minor issues like bruising, but could also include nerve damage or the need for subsequent replacement surgery due to wear and tear or defective implant devices. We covered a story a little while back where there was a clinic in California where they were using non-medicine or non-surgery grade screws. They were getting them from a machine shop and putting them inside people's bones, and they'd start rusting and cause a host of other problems. I mean, you trust these people? You know, we had Truman Tuck on and we were talking about personal responsibility. You've got to take it into your own hands. You have to. People suffering from osteoarthritis often require knee replacements to ease the intense pain caused by the disease. Isn't that funny how they call it a disease? It's not a disease, it's a mineral deficiency, and it's that simple. The condition, also called degenerative joint disease, there it is again, is a loss of cartilage in the joints and is the most common form of arthritis. It can occur in any joint, but most commonly occurs in the hands, knees, hips, and spine. Thinning cartilage in joints leads to bones rubbing against each other. This friction causes intense pain and swelling as well as joint damage. Osteoarthritis usually affects older individuals, but also those who experience injuries or extreme weight gain, another deficiency that puts pressure on the joints. Don't go there in the first place. Take your life in your hands. Take it in your own hands. You can do better than anybody else out there. This is Mike Phillip filling in for Dr. Peter Glidden, signing off. Dr. Glidden will be back tomorrow. Till then, I'll see you in hell.